Hello friends, my name is Napoleon Hill, and today I want to share something that could very well be the turning point of your entire life. I want you to imagine this for just a moment. A man with no college degree, no fancy titles, no trust fund, becomes one of the most powerful, wealthiest, and most influential men in the world. How? Not by luck, not by chance, and certainly not because the world handed him an opportunity on a silver platter. He did it because he understood a secret so few people ever learn. A secret that, once you hear it, will change the way you think about education, success, and your financial future forever. That secret is specialized knowledge. And what I'm about to tell you is not theory. It's not opinion. It's a principle tested and proven by every man and woman who has ever built real wealth in this world. You see, most people think education stops the day they leave school. They think a diploma is the golden ticket to success. They think those framed degrees on the wall are the key to wealth, power, and security. But let me tell you something the world doesn't want to admit. If college degrees created millionaires, every professor would be rich. Think about that. The truth is, knowledge by itself has no value, none. It is only when knowledge is organized, applied, and directed toward a clear purpose that it becomes power. And that's where most people fail. They collect information like a squirrel collects nuts, but they never put it to work. Today, I'm going to show you how to change that. I'm going to teach you how to decide what specialized knowledge you truly need, where to find it from the most dependable sources, and most importantly, how to use it to create wealth, power, and freedom. Because in today's world, a world that changed forever after the last economic collapse, and there is one truth you cannot ignore. The age of generalists is over. This is the age of specialists. If you've ever wondered why the rich keep getting richer, this is why. They don't try to know everything. They master one thing, and then they surround themselves with people who master everything else. That's not just smart, that's strategy, and it works every single time. Now, I want you to stay with me until the very end of this video, because what I'm about to share isn't something you'll hear in school, or in most business books, or in motivational speeches. This is the raw truth, the kind of truth Andrew Carnegie whispered to me in his own home, the kind of truth that shaped Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and countless others who built fortunes out of nothing. If you've ever felt like you're stuck because you didn't go to the right school, or because you don't have the right connections, or because you think you're not educated enough, I'm here to tell you that belief ends today. Because starting right now, you are going to learn how to outsmart the system that has been holding you back your entire life. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. If I could show you a way to become so valuable that companies would fight over you, if I could show you how to make yourself indispensable, not by working harder, but by working smarter, would you give me your full attention for the next few minutes? Because that's what it will take. Just a few minutes of your time. And in exchange, I will give you the mental blueprint to financial independence. A blueprint that has created more millionaires than any stock tip, any degree, or any get-rich-quick scheme in history. So lean in, because here's the first thing you must understand. The kind of knowledge you choose determines the kind of life you live. Most people never make this decision consciously. They drift. They take whatever job comes along. They learn whatever their environment forces them to learn. And then they wonder why their lives feel small, predictable, and unsatisfying. But the man or woman who deliberately decides what specialized knowledge to acquire, that person takes control of their destiny. And that, my friend, is the first step toward wealth, freedom, and security. I want you to imagine a young man named Andrew Carnegie. When I first met him, he was not yet a legend. He was a man with a plan. He told me something that shook me to my core. Napoleon, any man can become rich if he organizes knowledge and puts it to use toward a definite purpose. Think about that for a second. He didn't say any educated man. He didn't say any man with a degree. He said any man who can organize knowledge. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to do everything. You only have to know how to organize the knowledge, which yours and that of others, into a clear plan of action. That one idea has built empires. It will build yours too if you let it. But here's where most people fail. They confuse information with knowledge. They think because they read a book or watched a video, they know something. No, real knowledge isn't what you remember. It's what you can apply. And until you apply it toward a clear goal, it's just clutter in your brain. So the first thing we're going to do is decide, what knowledge do you need? Not next year, not someday, now. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to figure that out in just a moment. But before I do, let me warn you, this isn't for everyone. If you're looking for an easy button, if you're hoping for some magic trick that makes money fall from the sky, this isn't it. But if you are ready to take control of your future, if you're ready to think differently, act differently, and commit to a plan that works, then stay with me, because the next few minutes could be the most valuable time you ever spend in your life. Now that you understand why specialized knowledge is the foundation of wealth, let's take the next critical step. Because here's the truth. Knowing you need specialized knowledge is not enough. You must decide what kind of knowledge you need and why you need it. This decision alone will shape your entire future. Let me ask you something. Do you have a major purpose in life? Do you know what you want so clearly that you could describe it in a single sentence? If your answer is not yet, that's okay. Most people don't. But here's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. The successful make that decision. They don't drift. They don't leave their future to luck. They choose a definite purpose, and then they seek the knowledge that will move them toward it. That's the first thing you must do. Before you go chasing more information, before you enroll in another course, before you spend another dollar on education, decide your purpose. Because until you know what you want, no amount of knowledge will help you. Why most people stay broke. You want to know why most people never become wealthy? It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they're stupid. It's because they wander through life without a plan. They take whatever job comes along. They learn whatever someone else tells them to learn. They live by default, not by design. And then they wonder why they never feel free. If that's you, it ends today. Right now, I want you to make a decision. What is your major purpose? Do you want to build a business? Do you want to become a leading expert in a specific field? Do you want financial freedom so you never worry about bills again? Whatever it is, get clear. Because the kind of knowledge you choose depends on the kind of life you want to create. The 5 most reliable sources of specialized knowledge. Now that you've made that decision, your next move is to find accurate, dependable sources of knowledge. And I'm about to give you the 5 most important ones. Listen closely, because these are the same sources that every self-made millionaire I've ever known has relied on. 1. Your own experience and education. Don't underestimate what you already know. Every experience you've ever had, every problem you've ever solved, every skill you've ever developed. That is specialized knowledge, if you learn how to apply it. Think about this. Some of the most successful businesses in America started because someone paid attention to a problem in their own life and figured out how to solve it better than anyone else. Your experience is not random. It's a gold mine. But here's the secret. You must organize it and direct it toward a definite goal. 2. The experience and education of others, the mastermind principle. This is the most powerful shortcut to success you will ever find. When Andrew Carnegie built his steel empire, do you think he knew everything about mining, smelting, marketing, and finance? Of course not. He openly admitted he knew little about the technical side of steel. But he did something far more valuable. He surrounded himself with men who possessed that knowledge. And he organized them into a mastermind group. That is how fortunes are made. Not by trying to be an expert in everything, but by learning to coordinate and direct the experts. So ask yourself, who already knows what you need to know? Who can you align with? Whose knowledge can you borrow until you can afford to buy it? This single decision to build your own mastermind alliance will do more for your wealth than any degree, any certification, or any single skill you could ever acquire on your own. 3. Colleges and universities. Yes, formal education has value, but only when it is connected to a definite purpose. Don't make the mistake so many do. Don't enroll just to feel educated. If you plan to attend college, ask yourself 2 questions. What specific knowledge do I need for my goal? Where can I get it most efficiently? College can teach you methods. It can give you connections. But it will not give you wealth. Wealth comes from the use of knowledge, not the accumulation of it. 4. Public libraries. If you think you need a fortune to acquire knowledge, you're wrong. Every public library in America is a warehouse of riches. Inside those walls are books and periodicals containing the organized knowledge of every civilization in history. And most of it costs you nothing. If you are hungry enough, if you are determined enough, there is no excuse for ignorance in the modern world. 5. Special training courses, night schools, home study programs. This is where the real opportunities are today. Why? Because specialized training can often be acquired in months, not years. And because it's focused on a single, profitable skill, the kind employers and clients will pay for right now. When the world changed after the last economic collapse, the demand for specialists exploded. Companies don't want generalists anymore. They want men and women who can solve specific problems and solve them fast. So if you want to make yourself indispensable, invest in courses that teach high-income skills, sales, marketing, coding, data analysis, finance, leadership. Pick one, master it, and then apply it with relentless focus. Knowledge is useless without this. Now, here's a warning. You can spend years collecting information. You can earn every certificate and diploma under the sun. But until you organize that knowledge into a practical plan of action, it is worthless. I'll say it again. Knowledge has no value except that which can be gained from its application toward a worthy end. This is why so many people with degrees end up broke. And while men with no formal education build empires, a degree represents miscellaneous knowledge. Specialized knowledge applied toward a definite purpose represents power. And power, when intelligently organized, becomes wealth. Now, before we move to the next section, I want you to remember this. School does little more than teach you how to learn. Real education begins the day you decide what you want and commit to acquiring the knowledge that will get you there. Because the man who stops learning stops growing. And the man who stops growing dies poor. So ask yourself tonight, what do I really want? What knowledge do I need to get it? And what is my plan to acquire and apply it? Because the minute you answer those questions, your entire future changes. Friends, if you've stayed with me this far, it means you are serious about creating a life of abundance and success. And that tells me something about you. Something important. You are different from the masses. You're not satisfied with the ordinary. You're hungry. You want more. And that hunger, if you feed it the right way, will take you places most people will never go. Now let me share a truth you must never forget. We live in a changed world. The rules that worked 50 years ago don't work anymore. Even the rules that worked 20 years ago are broken. The age of generalists is over. This is the age of specialists. And if you want proof, look around you. The world after economic collapse. When the last great economic collapse hit, millions of people were thrown out of work. Entire industries changed overnight. Jobs that seemed secure disappeared. Companies downsized. People who thought they had safe careers found themselves starting over. But do you know who thrived during that chaos? The specialists. The men and women who had one thing they did better than anyone else. The people who had mastered a single skill that companies couldn't live without. Those people not only survived, they became more valuable than ever. This isn't my opinion. This is a fact. Robert P. Moore, the Secretary of Appointments at Columbia University, said it best. The order of the day is specialization. He saw it firsthand. Companies weren't looking for people with average knowledge in everything. They were looking for people who had mastered something specific and who could lead others in that field. What employers really want. Let me share something most people never hear until it's too late. Employers today are not looking for straight-A students who spent their lives chasing grades. In fact, one of the largest industrial companies in America said this in a letter to Columbia University. We are interested primarily in finding men who can make exceptional progress in management work. For this reason, we emphasize qualities of character, intelligence, and personality far more than specific educational background. Think about that for a second. They didn't say they wanted the person with the best GPA. They didn't say they wanted the person who memorized the most textbooks. They wanted leaders. They wanted people who could think, adapt, and inspire others. And that, my friend, is the opportunity of a lifetime for you. Why grades don't guarantee success. Let me tell you something that might shock you. Some of the wealthiest people in history, and even today, were not the best students. Thomas Edison had only 3 months of formal schooling. Henry Ford left school after the 6th grade. Neither of them died poor. Why? Because they understood that success is not about memorizing facts. It's about applying specialized knowledge and building the qualities that make people trust you, follow you, and work with you. And here's the best part. Those qualities are not given at birth. You can develop them if you're willing to do the work. The qualities that make you indispensable. If you want to attract opportunities, wealth, and influence, listen closely. Companies and the marketplace are looking for 3 things today. 1. Character. People want to work with someone they can trust. Your reputation is worth more than any degree you'll ever earn. 2. Intelligence. Not just book smarts, but the ability to solve problems, to think under pressure, to see opportunities others miss. 3. Personality. Can you get along with people? Can you lead? Can you inspire? The man who has these qualities, combined with specialized knowledge, is unstoppable, and companies will fight over him, even in the toughest job market. Activity over averages. Robert P. Moore made another observation that's pure gold. He said, the man who has been active on the campus, whose personality is such that he gets along with all kinds of people and who has done an adequate job with his studies has a most decided edge over the strictly academic student. In plain English, if you've lived, if you've led, if you've engaged with people and built relationships, you have an advantage over the person who spent 4 years hiding behind books. This is a lesson too many people ignore, but you won't, because now you know better. The new currency, specialization plus leadership. In today's economy, your ability to lead is just as valuable as your ability to know. You can be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't communicate, if you can't influence, if you can't lead, your knowledge will sit in silence. On the other hand, the person who can combine specialized Knowledge with leadership ability becomes a magnet for opportunity. That person can write their own ticket. That person can command the highest salaries. That person can build an empire if they choose. And here's the truth. That person can be you. How to become that person? It starts with a decision. You must decide that you will never stop learning. You must decide that you will acquire the specialized knowledge your purpose requires. You must decide that you will develop the character, intelligence, and personality that the world rewards. And then you must act every day, because success is not built in a day, but it is built daily. So here's what I want you to do right now. Ask yourself this question and write down the answer. What skill, if mastered in the next 12 months, would change my entire financial future? Write it down and then make a plan to acquire that skill, starting today. Because the man who takes that step, the man who applies what I've shared with you today, that man is on his way to a life most people only dream about. Friends, if you've made it this far, I know something powerful about you. You are not just curious. You are committed. You've stayed with me through every word, and that tells me you are serious about creating wealth, freedom, and a life of purpose. So now let's bring everything together, because what good is knowledge if you don't know how to turn it into results? I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. How to turn specialized knowledge into real income, real influence, and real freedom. The $1 million truth. You've heard the saying, knowledge is power. But that's only half true. Knowledge is potential power. Power only comes when you organize that knowledge into a plan and then act on that plan with persistence. This is where most people stop. They read a book, they watch a video, they attend a seminar, they feel inspired for a day or two, and then they go back to the same habits, the same routines, the same results. But you're not going to do that, because you understand something they don't. Knowledge without action is just daydreaming. The blueprint for wealth through knowledge. I want you to write this down, because this is the formula that has created more millionaires than any other idea in history. Specialized knowledge plus organized plan, plus persistent action, power and wealth. That's it. That's the entire game. But let me break it down for you step by step. Step 1. Define your major purpose. What do you want? Not what your parents want. Not what society expects. What do you want? Be bold, be clear, because the size of your goal will determine the size of your life. Step 2. Decide what specialized knowledge you need. This is where most people fail. They never ask the right question. Ask yourself, what knowledge, if mastered, would make me invaluable in my chosen field? For example, if you want to build wealth in business, you might need marketing, sales, or leadership skills. If you want to dominate in technology, you might need coding, AI, or data analytics. If you want to create financial freedom, you might need investment strategies, tax knowledge, or business systems. Choose one, master it. Step 3. Find the best sources of that knowledge. We already covered the 5 dependable sources. Your own experience, the experience of others, colleges, libraries, and specialized courses. But let me add this. In today's world, you have more access to specialized knowledge than any generation in history. With the internet, you can learn almost anything, anytime, from the best in the world. There are no excuses anymore. The only question is, will you make the time? Will you make the commitment? Step 4. Organize that knowledge into a practical plan. This is where the magic happens. Most people collect knowledge like a hoarder collects junk. They take courses, read books, watch videos, and then do nothing. Don't make that mistake. Take what you learn and turn it into a step-by-step plan you can execute. Write it down. Review it daily. Adjust it as you go. Because a plan backed by action will do more for you than 1,000 dreams. Step 5. Take persistent action. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't act, nothing happens. Action is the bridge between your ideas and your reality. And here's the truth. The world doesn't reward what you know. It rewards what you do with what you know. So start today, not tomorrow, not someday. Today. The power of specialized knowledge in the modern world. Now, let me give you some perspective. We live in a time when specialized knowledge can create wealth faster than ever before. Think about it. The person who understands digital marketing can help businesses grow and make 6 figures doing it. The person who knows how to write code can build apps, websites, and entire companies. The person who understands money management can help others build wealth and build their own in the process. The opportunities are endless, but they belong to the specialist, not the generalist. The world doesn't pay for average anymore. It pays for excellence. Real stories, real proof. Look at the entrepreneurs who dominate today. Jeff Bezos specialized in e-commerce. Elon Musk specialized in engineering and vision-driven leadership. Oprah Winfrey specialized in communication and influence. They didn't try to know everything. They focused on one thing and became the best in the world at it. And you can do the same. Your starting point doesn't matter. Your commitment does. The role of continuous learning. Here's another truth. Your education does not end when you leave school. It never ends. The moment you stop learning, you start falling behind. Because the world changes fast. Technology changes. Markets change. Opportunities change. The only way to stay ahead is to become a lifelong learner. The man who refuses to learn is like a man trying to sail the ocean with no wind. He's going nowhere. So make a decision today. You will never stop learning. You will never stop growing. Because the man who grows wins. Your final challenge. Before we close, I want you to imagine something. Imagine it's 1 year from today. You're sitting in your favorite chair, looking back on the last 12 months. What if you could say this? I mastered a skill that changed my life. I built a business that gives me freedom. I became the person I always wanted to be. That future is possible, but it starts with one decision today. The ultimate success formula. Let me leave you with this. Specialized knowledge. Please, definite purpose. Organized plan plus persistent. Action plus faith. Is unlimited success. That's the formula. It has never failed, and it will not fail you. So here's what I want you to do. Take out a piece of paper. Write down your major purpose. Write down the knowledge you need. Write down your plan. And then take the first step before the day ends. Because the man who acts today owns tomorrow. Friends, this has been Napoleon Hill. If this message has helped you, share it, because someone you know needs to hear this. And if you want more truths that will change your life forever, make sure you stay connected, because what I've shared today is just the beginning. Your success is waiting. Go claim it.